my name is Ed Folsom, and I'm here to talk to you today about tariffs and tax rates in foreign countries. I want to start off by asking a question about fairness. Is it fair that Americans can buy US cars, Chinese cars, Japanese cars, any cars we want in the United States for a fair price? But you go to China and the Chinese citizens can't purchase any car except for Chinese cars for something less than a pretty fortune. According to Keith Bradshaw, who's a reporter, the price of a US car in China would be about $85,000 for an SUV compared to $27,000 here. This constant action by China to raise their tariff rates and other actions such as that show China is solely interested in their own economy and not in global interest. They're solely concerned with improving their own economy, but they don't really care about the rest of the world. So as part of that, I have a suggestion to raise tariffs on the Chinese in an effort to encourage them to accept open market reform, such as the rest of the world is slowly adopting, such as the United Nations. Today I would also like to talk about tariffs and what they are. I'd like to propose several solutions to the issue by addressing tariffs and a trade embargo, and to explore why these may be necessary to adopt these proposals as relations with China and the Korean Peninsula begin to change. Now, you guys may not really understand how these tariff rates affect us, and they don't really directly affect us, but indirectly there's a need for us to change these rules. The tariff rates harm the US economy and empower the Chinese economy. So while our economy is harmed by the foreign country raising their tariffs, basically less of our goods are being purchased by the Chinese, whereas all of our goods are pretty much produced by the Chinese. I mean, how many times have you guys turned over a cup made in China? Turned over a mug made in China? Everything's made in China. Well, we import so many goods from them, and yet they restrict the amount of goods we're allowed to export to them. It seems a bit ridiculous. On top of that, the Chinese government refuses to adopt free market and refuses to respond to global economic regulations. For example, the United Nations has put a lot of sanctions on North Korea. And despite those sanctions that we put on North Korea, China has solely helped North Korea survive over the past 6 years, since 2006 basically. In 2006, North Korea did a nuclear test and a whole bunch of UN sanctions got imposed. And despite those sanctions, China still helps them and feeds them money. The Chinese government is the source of their economic stability. So you can look here. This is a graph of the total China between the North Korea's trade, China-North Korea trade. And then the red line here is the trade from the whole peninsula. So as you can see, the red line stays pretty low the whole way. This is dollars in millions. And starting around 2008, we start spiking up in the amount of money China and North Korea are funneling into each other. And here's a quote that I have from Bajoria of the Council of Foreign Relations. She says, "Pyongyang is economically dependent on China, which provides most of its food and energy supplies. China has served as North Korea's chief food supplier and has accounted for 90% of its energy imports." So as you can tell, basically China supports North Korea. And in recent news, if anyone has been following that, North Korea is going off, they're going crazy. So I have a couple methods to implement to solve this solution. The first method would be increasing our own tariff rates. And the reason we would increase our own tariff rates is to show China, hey look, if you're going to charge your people so much money to buy our goods, we're going to charge our people money to buy your goods, and we're going to stop giving you as much money. So indirectly, we're basically feeding North Korea, because we buy all these goods from China, and then China spends all their money to help North Korea. The second thing I would suggest would be a trade embargo, and that would be basically a complete cutoff of China. We'd stop trading with China. Now that might have more repercussions with us, because we do get a lot of goods from China, but we can find other countries to import goods that we're missing. And I also would like to do the trade embargo so that they can see how restricting the global economy and the free market can really affect countries. Because if we cut off complete relations with China in terms of economic trade, China would be in a whole world of hurt. And then my third selection would be to make a plea to the UN to the UN to impose sanctions on China, showing them that helping aggressive regimes is wrong. So basically, we've imposed sanctions on North Korea because their aggressive movements have been, we don't like them. Meanwhile, we don't do anything to China while they're basically feeding them. And this is a quote from Malcolm Moore from the Telegraph News Company. He says, despite China's public protestations, trade from Dandong continues to flourish. Each day, scores of lorries queue up outside the city's custom house to transport grain, fertilizer, and containers of goods into North Korea. So we need your support. The first thing I would say would be go to whitehouse.gov and sign the petition on raising tariff rates on China. The second call to action would be to call your federal congressman and inform them about a possible trade embargo and inform them how they're being affected by what's happening. And the third one would be make a plea to the United States UN representatives to suggest sanctions to the UN on China. I hope everyone learned something today, and I hope everyone takes these issues as seriously as I do. Thank you.